Good afternoon. Today is the 26th of October and it's time for yet another not particularly interesting, very vague and probably quite boring vlog. So I'm pleased to report that I had another job yesterday. As usual, these jobs mainly are in London, because that's traditionally where I used to do them when I started work in this profession about 7 years ago. And I was contacted by somebody who knew one of my other clients. Generally I get a lot of sort of recommendations, and they wanted a car. They aren't from this country, but just moved over. Ordered a car to use just for, I don't know, just sort of moving around in general, sort of family stuff, I think, mainly. And they didn't have one because they just moved. And so we had a look around, and I was given a very generous budget of £20,000, which I don't normally have to play with, but it was nice to actually do that for a change. So we were looking for a family car. There were certain brands that my clients said they wanted, certain ones they didn't. So stuff I would have normally recommended, things like, I don't know, maybe some MGs and some kind of Skodas and Seats, things like that. They didn't want any of those, so that's fine. We couldn't really find any Korean brand cars. Normally I recommend sort of Hyundais and Kias and things like that. I couldn't find any in the search area, and I normally live in London, don't try to go too far away from where someone lives, because it's an absolute pain to try to get around there. It just takes so long. So within a 5-mile radius of where they lived, in London, on sort of the outskirts really. And so we found various cars that met the requirements. Actually 3 of them were BMWs. I've never even sourced a BMW ever before. In all the years I've been doing this job, I've never sourced a BMW before. But it was the first of everything. So we had a look at 4 different cars, 3 BMWs and a Mazda. Those were brands that they were happy to look at, so that's fine. First car was a 2019 BMW X1 with the 2-litre engine. It was some of the highest spec cars, a cloth interior, no adaptive cruise control. I've never driven an X1 before, and it was all right. They are a little bit firm riding. I think that was the main problem, that clients didn't quite like it. It was a bit firm riding. Advertised, I think it was about £18,000, something like that. And it just seemed to me a bit sort of plain. There were a couple of things wrong with it. The car had no coolant in it whatsoever, absolutely no coolant, which isn't the best. And also the fuse box cover, just above the driver's knee, kept falling down, which also wasn't the best. I think it done in a region of 40,000 miles, which is sort of just below average for a car that's from 2019. Then we went to see another BMW. This time it was a car on the same platform, but it was the previous generation Active Tourer. It's a facelift one, again a 2019. I think this particular car had been owned by BMW themselves at the start, because it was like Y something at the beginning. So you know, that's how you can often tell BMW press cars and fleet cars are all registered in Yorkshire. So I had a look at that. It was again same engine and gearbox. All these cars were automatic. This one was about £15,000. It done 34,000 miles, and yeah, it's a bit smaller than an X1, but you know, very similar. Facelifted, first generation Active Tourer. Same sort of, everything's the same really. Like the iDrive system's very similar. The dials are really similar. A lot of the switches are very similar. Engine and gearbox exactly the same. A bit of a smaller car than the next one, and actually that had a better ride and handling balance than the X1 did. Much better. It wasn't so firm, and it just seemed a little bit better equipped. It was an M Sport. So yeah, it was a nice little compact car. You know, all space for the family. Not the biggest boot I've ever seen, but that wasn't sort of the be-all end-all with it. And so that was good. 15,000 is obviously less than 18,000. Then we saw something a little bit different, a very rare car, a BMW 218i Grand Tourer, which is the bigger version of the Active Tourer. This was a pre-facelift one. It was a 17, this particular car, and it was at a franchised dealership. The others were all independent sort of supermarkets, and it was, I think, so the Active Tourer was 15, or was just over 15. This was around sort of 16 and a half, something like that. It done 30,000 miles. One thing it did have was very nice. It was a beige leather interior. I do like a nice beige leather interior, viewers. So yeah, beige leather interior, rare on a Grand Tourer, a panoramic sunroof. But previous generation I drove, this is a pre-facelift one. The Active Tourer was a post-facelift, but they're virtually the same in many ways. So it was a smaller screen and that kind of stuff. Felt, it was a weird sort of set of options on it. But I drove it, and it was the 218, so it's the 3-cylinder 1.5 engine, which has considerably less power than the 2 litre. And it wasn't as nice to drive at all. It just felt a little bit older for some reason. I don't know why. It was not that much older. But the idle system was older and things like that. And it had a little bit of firm edge to the right, which I wasn't expecting with the Active Tourer. But it just felt a bit sort of gruffer because of the 3-cylinder. It had a nice noise, but maybe not for sort of money. And of course, because it's a main dealership, we just had to wait so long for everything. We turned up, and obviously we were a little bit early, which is not their fault or anything. But the car wasn't out, so we had to go and get it, and then so we had to wait for him to go and get it. Then we had to look round it. It's like a test drive. I said yes, so we need to come back in and do some more forms and then wait some more. Then we finally got there. Then we came back, and I don't know what happened to the sales consultant. He'd gone off, so we had to wait for him to come back from whatever he was doing, and it just took forever. And trying to get out of those places is difficult. Obviously, we probably waited in total something like 35 minutes out of the sort of hour or so we were with the car. I don't really like that about main dealers. I just wait so much, and then kind of suddenly putting pressure on you to buy the car when you've not actually completed your round of test drives. They sort of try to find out all this extra information they don't really need to know, to be honest. But there we go. Never mind. So remember the last one we saw, we got caught in quite heavy traffic, but we eventually went over to see a Mazda CX-5, and actually my clients were quite keen on this one in particular, and I think they're good cars, not the ones we can't talk about. No, the petrol ones. Do not buy a Mazda CX-5 with an engine we can't discuss. There are many reasons for that, viewers, but yeah, don't do it to yourself. That's my advice. Do not buy a CX-5 with an engine you can't discuss on the channel. Yeah, I'm not the only one who says that, by the way. Other people do say that. So yeah, it was a nice car actually. It wasn't the top spec; it was sport, which is I think somewhere in the middle. So we had adaptive cruise control, but no heated seats, and then not a leather or faux leather interior. It was a cloth interior, but a really nice car. The only problem with the car, and it would have been, I think, my choice and husband's choice as well, but his lady wife just thought it was a little bit too big. The other thing was, it was £19,000. It was a 20 plate. It done 32,000 miles. Everything worked. Nothing wrong with it. Very well presented. A good place actually it seemed to be to buy cars. But I took my clients out, for lunch afterwards. And sometimes I do that. Sometimes I don't. It depends how much in a rush a client is, whether they've made up their mind, and they needed a bit more time just to decide what we're going to do, because those two cars are quite different, the Active Tourer and the CX-5. They're quite different cars. The CX-5 is a lot larger, and I think just because she wasn't so familiar with driving in this country. It's on the other side of the road, for example, compared with where she's from and things like that. So she just felt more comfortable in the BMW. It was also £3,000 cheaper. Now, husband and I just would have bought the Mazda. We just would have done that. I did sort of say the BMWs, they're average for reliability. They're not amazing. They're not the worst. They're sort of average. So, just putting a little bit of money aside, as Matt from High Peak also says, it's a very good advice from him. put a little bit of money to one side, so a couple of grand, just in case you have any issues with the car. Obviously, it came with a 6-month warranty, which was good, and some breakdown cover. Hopefully you won't need to use it. I couldn't really find anything wrong with it, a couple of cosmetic things, and yeah, so didn't buy the Mazda, although like he and I would have wanted to do that. It's more important that she's happy and that actually she's going to be driving it more than him. So went for the BMW. The first time I've ever sourced a BMW in 7.5 years I've been doing this job. It's the first time I've ever done that. And yeah, it's a very nice car to drive. I'm just a little bit sort of questionable about BMW and Mercedes of reliability. I'm not sure they're like the most reliable cars out there. They're average, I would say. But I did warn them about that. There's no timing chain as far as I know to do. The gearbox won't need servicing for quite some time. I think it's just literally a case of them servicing it, because it hasn't been serviced, but then putting some fuel in it and driving it for a year and putting an MOT in service again on the car. And that's it really. Not that exciting, but that is the life of an independent vehicle consultant. I think we're on part 6 now, what I've done. And some of you find this interesting, maybe some of you don't, I don't know. Let me know in the comment section below. So thank you ever so much indeed once again for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, comment below, and we shall see you again for some more not particularly interesting and very vague musing.